we have some interesting developments. Some very, very interesting developments. Obama has caught himself, or is found to be in a scandal, a debacle, a claims of treason. We're gonna watch this video. We're gonna react to it. Tulsi Gabbard has found some interesting findings about Obama and what he has been doing behind closed doors. This is in real time. I have not watched this video prior. Tulsi Gabbard, she gets on the podium. She says something. What does she say?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. At President Trump's direction and with the support and coordination with the House Intelligence Committee Chairman Rick Crawford, today we've released a declassified Oversight Majority Staff report that was produced in September of 2020. The stunning revelations that we are releasing today should be of concern to every American. This is not about Democrats or Republicans. This has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic and American voters having faith that the votes cast will count. There is irrefutable evidence that detail how President Obama and his national security team directed the creation of an intelligence community assessment that they knew was false. They knew it would promote this contrived narrative that Russia interfered in the 2016 election to help President Trump win, selling it to the American people as though it were true. It wasn't. The report that we released.
We always wanted to know who was the culprit, who was the mastermind behind that, who was the person that said, we need to run that play. I think the American people will buy that. Who was the mastermind behind this? For some reason, we went through the files, or the current administration went through the files. DNI, Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, has went through the background, searched through the files, and found something very interesting, that the Russia hoax was masterminded by Obama. The playbook of the Russia hoax was masterminded and put forth to be used against President Trump. Let's keep listening to it. Let's keep listening to what she has to say. Let's give her grounds to speak her piece.
Today shows in great detail how they carried this out. They manufactured findings from shoddy sources. They suppressed evidence and credible intelligence that disproved their false claims. They disobeyed traditional tradecraft intelligence community standards and withheld the truth from the American people. In doing so, they conspired to subvert the will of the American people who elected Donald Trump in that election in November of 2016. They worked with their partners in the media to promote this lie, ultimately to undermine the legitimacy of President Trump and launching what would be a years-long coup against him and his administration. We're here today because the American people deserve the truth, they deserve accountability, and they deserve justice. The records that we released on Friday that were ODNI records, Senator Chuck Grassley's release on Monday of what is known as the Clinton Annex, which was an appendix to the Department of Justice Office of Inspector General's 2018 report, as well as the House Intelligence Committee's majority oversight report that we're releasing today, all come back to and confirm the same report. There was a gross politicization and manipulation of intelligence by the Obama administration intended to delegitimize President Trump even before he was inaugurated, ultimately usurping the will of the American people. I'm going to go over the key findings from the House Intelligence report, which investigated the claims that were made by an intelligence community assessment ordered by...
Now, before she even gets to this, before she even gets to the chart, right? Because I see that there is a chart up there. Which part of this even surprises you? because it doesn't surprise me as far as not even that Obama was behind this mastermind or this plot. Politics is a nasty game. It's an ugly game. And before Trump got his first term, we didn't realize how dirty the game was up until now. We see the weaponization and politicization of certain letter groups, certain three-letter factions, three-letter government factions that administrations will put people in positions in these offices to be used to weaponize their resources against a potential political opponent, a ally of a potential political opponent, or anything of that sort. Anybody that goes against these people's agenda, they can use as weapons. Does any of this surprise you? The answer should be no. This stuff should be outlawed. Propaganda at this level should be outlawed. But for some reason, in politics, everything is fair game. Now, if President Obama, former President Obama, if he gets tried and put in jail for this will decrease this type of tactics, these type of dark magic tactics in the future. If nothing happens, if we just sitting up here and we just talking and we just giving press conferences and we doing the whole run and the whole show just to make things look good, and it's not going to be enough. Somebody else in a future administration is going to do the same thing. Let's hear what else she got to say.
President Obama and published in January of 2017. First, Putin's principal interests relating to the 2016 election were to undermine faith in the U.S. democratic process, not show any preference of a certain candidate. In fact, this report shows Putin held back from leaking compromising material on Hillary Clinton prior to the election, instead planning to release it after the election to weaken what Moscow viewed as an inevitable Clinton presidency. In the January 2017 intelligence community assessment that President Obama ordered, John Brennan, who was CIA director at the time, and the intelligence community intentionally suppressed intelligence that showed Putin was saving the most damaging material that he had in his possession about Hillary Clinton until after her potential and likely victory. The report...
Hold on. I gotta play that again. Just a couple seconds. So, Putin... Nah, hold on.
That showed Putin was saving the most damaging material. Who was CIA director at the time, and the intelligence community intentionally suppressed intelligence that showed Putin was saving the most damaging material that he had in his possession about Hillary Clinton until after her potential and likely victory. The report goes into great detail about the information that Russia and Putin had on Hillary Clinton, which included possible criminal acts, like secret meetings with multiple named U.S. religious organizations in which State Department officials offered, in exchange for supporting Secretary Clinton's campaign for the presidency, significant increases in financing from the...
Hold on. So, from my discernment, from my brain taking all this information and putting it in a summary, you trying to tell me that because Trump won, they flipped the Russia hoax, because the Russia hoax was made for Clinton, for Hillary Clinton. So they flipped it and used that information that would have been used against Clinton, or just the narrative of Russia is working with a potential presidential candidate. If Hillary Clinton would have won, Russia would have put this narrative And whatever they would have found against her, which was true because they had that information, was going to be used against her. So these people flipped it and was like, yo, let's use this on Trump. Let's make it about him. Even though it's not true, but the American people gonna believe it. This is very interesting. This is very interesting. And it's making sense. The math is mathing, because the Russia hoax was found to be debunked about Trump. But people ain't really talk about Hillary Clinton. Wow, Obama. This is genius. It didn't work, but it's genius.
State Department. They also had documents that showed the patronage of the State Department to State Department employees who would go and support Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers. Then CIA Director Brennan and the intelligence community mischaracterized intelligence and relied on dubious substandard sources to create a contrived false narrative that...
Wait, so this, the stress of this information coming out caused Hillary Clinton to have a psychotic break. Heavy stress, had to be tranquilized to go to sleep, I assume, because this information was so damaging that it would have affected her image. Whatever this information was, whatever, I think it was she had some type of emails that she deleted. She deleted all these emails that we have yet to know exactly what was in them, but criminal activity. And unfortunately, because we have a nice president, regardless of what you think about Trump, this guy is too nice. He said, yo, I was gonna put Hillary Clinton in jail after he won the 2016 election. He didn't want to put her in jail because it was gonna be bad for her image, and didn't want to put a former president's wife in jail, even though she committed heinous acts. Now, this is my thing, right? As I've gotten older, if somebody needs to face justice, they gotta face it. If I ever run for president, you shouldn't vote for me, because I'm gonna be a lot less nicer than Trump. I'm gonna be way less nicer than Trump. He's very nice. He don't fire people this term. He be just moving people to different parts of the government instead of firing them. There was a couple people that committed some bad things, did some things, leaked some information in this administration today, 2025. And he just moved them to different places. He said, yo, let me take you out of here and move you somewhere else. I don't like that. Fire him. Get him out of here. Take him to jail. That's just my opinion, though. Let's keep hearing what she got to say. Well, let's keep hearing what Tulsi Gabbard got to say, because what's going to happen after this? If nobody gets tried in court, nobody goes to jail, who gives a fuck? That's my opinion. Who gives a fuck? Is Obama going to get locked up? We'll see.
Putin developed a quote-unquote clear preference for Trump. Brennan and the IC misled lawmakers by referencing the debunked Steele dossier to assess, quote unquote, Russia's plans and intentions, falsely suggesting that this dossier had intelligence value when he knew that it was discredited. The intelligence community excluded significant intelligence and ignored or selectively quoted reliable intelligence that contradicted the intelligence community assessment's key findings on Putin's alleged support for Trump. Including this intelligence reporting would have exposed the ICA's claim as implausible, if not ridiculous. The intelligence community assessment omitted reliably sourced information, such as how some Russian intelligence officials were, quote unquote, planning for candidate Hillary Clinton's victory, while others assessed neither Trump nor Clinton would respect Russia's interests. As was reflected in the ODNI documents that we released on Friday, multiple intelligence community assessments released in the months leading up to the November 2016 election concluded that Russia had neither the intent nor capability to impact the outcome of the U.S. election. On December 5th of 2016, the FBI and ODNI gave the House Intelligence Committee its first post-election classified briefing, in which there was no mention of Putin aspiring to elect Trump by either agency.
Okay, so basically the narrative now of Trump being Putin's puppet is kind of, it's losing its steam. It's lost its steam before, but now with a press conference, and I guess this report is out. I'm not going to read a 200,000 page report. I'm just not going to do it. Speaking of these reports, they put out MLK's assassination reports. They put out all this declassified information. 230,000 pages. People wanted this information. They put it out. It being a ridiculous amount of pages. Nobody's gonna read it. I'm not gonna read it. People want the Epstein files, right? People want the Epstein files. It's gonna be over 1,000 pages. There's gonna be videos. I'm willing to bet none of y'all gonna read it, but y'all want the narrative or the optics of they put this out. But when they put it out, y'all not gonna read it because y'all gonna see the page numbers and be like, yo, I'm not reading this. But I'm glad y'all put it out, but I'm not gonna read it. These reports, she said earlier in this video that they put them out. She put out this video. She put out the reports. There is reports on this that people can find right now. She's making a summary. Putin had no aspiration of making Trump or Hillary Clinton president because he had no ability. Russia had no ability to interfere in the election to make either one president, and none of them was in the best interest of Russia. So the narrative is getting debunked more and more as time goes on that Trump is Putin's puppet. But it's interesting that they had information on Hillary Clinton just in case she won. They was going to put out a big file on her. Or they did put out a big file on her, but it disappeared. They found your emails. Those emails we have yet to know exactly what's in those emails today, 2025. There was rumors of what it was in those emails, but guess what? They asked, I remember this as if it was yesterday. They asked, yo, we asked Hillary Clinton for the emails, she deleted them. We asked Hillary Clinton for the emails, she deleted them. The crazy thing is, the person that I was back then, right? Just speaking from my personal point of view, the person that I was back then, when we just voted blue no matter who, I didn't know much about who Trump was. I seen him watch the Apprentice. People was rapping about him in songs. And then for some reason before the 2016 election, It's something, the propaganda chip got in my brain. It got in my brain and infested it. And I thought this guy was a bad guy. So I went to the voting booth and voted for Hillary Clinton. So glad that I'll have a different brain today, that I've woken up, that COVID woke me up. You guys failed at that psyop, by the way. You guys that ran that little operation with COVID, you guys failed. You woken more people up. Let's keep hearing what DNI has to say, Tulsi Gabbard has to say about this. Give me some more information on this. This is very, very, very interesting.
Presidential Daily Brief, drafted on December 8th of 2016, stated that no Russian or criminal actors impacted vote counts. This document was pulled just hours before it was to be published due to quote-unquote new guidance. If it had been published, it would have been briefed to both President Obama and President-elect Donald Trump. On December 9th, 2016, a National Security Council meeting was called to gather President Obama's senior national security officials, which included CIA Director Brennan, then Obama DNI James Clapper, Susan Rice, and others. Following that secret meeting, DNI Clapper's assistant sent an email to the intelligence community with the subject line, POTUS tasking on Russia election meddling, tasking ODNI leaders to create a new assessment per the president's request. The House Intelligence Committee Oversight Report.
When they say the president's request, they mean Obama. They mean Obama. He was president at the time before the new president in 2016, which was Donald Trump, walked in that office. So I want you to keep in mind, I want you to follow what she's saying. I want you to follow. Get off your phone, get off TikTok, get off X if you're watching this. If you're watching this, don't have multiple tabs open trying to listen to me. I need you to follow this. Obama requested this.
That we released today reveals that, quote, unlike routine intelligence community analysis, the intelligence community assessment was a high-profile product ordered by the president, President Obama. It directed senior intelligence community agency heads and created an intelligence community assessment limited to just 5 analysts using one principal drafter. This is not something that occurs in the normal path of producing an intelligence community assessment that reflects the views across the intelligence community. The production of this intelligence community assessment was subject to unusual directives directly from the president and senior political appointees, especially the former director of the CIA, John Brennan. The House Intelligence Committee Oversight Report also shows how later that same day, on December 9th, Brennan ordered the publication of quote-unquote substandard reporting on Russian activities, which had previously been withheld from publication of prior assessments because the information was judged, quote, to have not met long-standing publication standards. Some of the information later used in the Obama-ordered assessment over the objections of veteran CIA officers was, quote-unquote, unclear or from unknown sources. The Intelligence Committee's oversight report reveals that CIA Director Brennan overruled senior CIA officers who challenged the Obama-ordered intelligence assessment, stating, quote, we don't have direct information that Putin wanted to get Trump elected. Yet, the Obama-directed assessment was published on January 6, 2017, which explicitly stated, quote, we assess Putin and the Russian government aspired to help President-elect Trump's election chances, when possible, by discrediting Secretary Clinton and publicly contrasting her unfavorably to him.
Yo, the one thing, the one thing out of many things that I don't like as a grown man, just me, right? Just dealing with people. I hate, listen, this is in my cells, right? I hate liars, bro. I hate people that try to manipulate through lies. I hate being lied to in my face. Just tell me the truth. Don't lie. When you lie, especially as a man that takes great importance in principles, honor, respect, loyalty, you gotta be honest with me. If you show me something different than what you said, I'm gonna look at you way different. I'm gonna lose respect for you. We're gonna lose contact with each other. There's no need for a closure when it comes to lying. Lying is something that I take very, very serious. Now, with this information that we got here, with what DNI Tulsi Gabbard is saying on this podium, is that they knew that the information that they was gonna feed us was a lie. But the play was, yo, we gotta get them to believe this so it interrupts Trump's presidency. People in the intelligence community, people within the CIA or whoever, John Brennan was part of the CIA. There were people that worked there that was against this, and they was being told, yo, we still gonna go with this play. Even if y'all don't believe it, we still gonna go with it. Russia wanted to elect President Trump, or they had something to do with it. We don't have clear evidence of this, but we got a narrative that may work. When you lie to me, you have it's gonna be impossible or very, very hard to regain my trust. My trust is priceless. Your trust should be priceless, or at the price of at least being honest. When you're honest, you give me a decision to make. When you lie and I find out, good luck with trying to get my trust again. Good luck. I'm not going to give it to you. And if you do get it, God helped you a lot by getting it back. This is with anything, with people, with politics, with family, with friends. If you lie, it's over. There's no, yo, can we go back to what we used to be? Nah. It's not possible.
End of quote. The CIA and FBI, then led by John Brennan and James Comey, expressed high confidence in this judgment, while the NSA expressed moderate confidence. Yet, as the report we released today shows, the ICA, the Intelligence Community Assessment, did not cite any report where Putin indicated helping Trump win was an objective.
They did not cite any report. For the slow people in the back, there was no way that they could substantiate their argument on this narrative. They couldn't cite anything that could back the narrative. All they had was the lying words that came out their mouths. That's it.
The opposite is true. With regards to the Steele dossier, we now know that one of the source documents that the Obama administration used in the creation of this intelligence assessment in January of 2017 was none other than the discredited, unverified Steele dossier. The House Intel report states, quote, contradicting public claims by then CIA Director Brennan that the dossier was not in any way incorporated into this intelligence assessment. The dossier was referenced in the intelligence assessment's main body text and further detailed in a 2-page assessment annex. John Brennan lied, and he denied using this dossier in this intelligence assessment that President Obama ordered because he knew it was discredited. It was a politically motivated, manufactured document. He directed senior CIA officials to use it anyway. CIA officer told the House Intelligence Committee staff, as they investigated this, quote, the director of the CIA, John Brennan, refused to remove it. And when confronted with the dossier's many flaws, responded, quote, yes, but doesn't it ring true? Even the bipartisan Senate Select Committee on Intelligence report published in 2020 criticized the FBI's handling of the Steele dossier, noting its completely unverified nature and purposeful sidestepping of intelligence community procedures in its use. Now, President Obama, Hillary Clinton, John Brennan, James Clapper, James Comey, and others, including their mouthpieces in the media, knowingly lied as they repeated the contrived narrative that was created in this January 2017 intelligence community assessment with high confidence as though it were fact.
Well, there you have it, folks. Well, there you have it. Treason. Treason. It is treason. Now, they said the report is out, so you can go find this. I recommend you go watch the rest of this. I think I've seen enough. I don't think there's anything new that can be learned from this. Yeah, this is a 28-minute video. I don't think I need to. She pretty much said what she needed to say. If there's anything new, maybe I'll check it out, but that's all I needed to hear, bro. What do y'all think about this? Should Obama be persecuted? Should it happen? Me personally, if this is absolutely true, they said they spread the lies. Somebody has to go down for this. Somebody gotta go down, because it's just gonna happen again in the future. All these press conferences, the shit is cute. Okay? It's cute. But somebody has to go down. Treason is punishable by death. But nobody ain't gonna die. Nobody ain't gonna get hanged. Nobody ain't gonna get killed smack. Nobody ain't gonna get killed smack. But something gotta be done. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the podcast, check out the podcast, Think Pieces and Conversations. Until next time, I'm out of here, man. Salute.